Welcome, everybody, to ACED-I CCEP, the Collegiate Conference and Events Professional. This session will be informational to give you all the information you need on what the CCEP is. I'm Diana Hackenholtz. I'm the Director of Meetings and Education at ACED-I, and I'm also the staff liaison to the CCEP Action Team and administrator of the program. Just a few little housekeeping notes before we get started. If you could please keep yourself muted unless you are asking a question or responding to a comment, just to keep any potential background noise down. We will be recording this session, and by the end of the week, you should receive a copy from us of that if you want to go back and reference anything that we have covered today. But we will also be uploading this onto the ACED-I website and community as well. So that'll be a good spot to find it later on. If you haven't done it yet, please add your university to your name so we know where you're from. And with that, we're going to get started. I'm going to turn this over to Alicia.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Alicia Rizzo. I am a CCEP from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. Looks like we have a great group with us today, 8 or 9 professionals that we've made a good first step. You're here, so that means you're interested in the CCEP program. So hopefully we achieve our mission today by providing all the necessary information to get you going in the right direction. So with our group size, I think maybe we could do a quick, if everybody's up to it, we could do a quick intro, just your name and what university you're from, and maybe throw out your biggest question about CCEP before we get started. So I'm going to just go in line with my list that I can see on my screen. I see a Lauren Kuntz. Lauren, if you want to go ahead and give a shout out.
Hey, I'm Lauren Kuntz, Coastal Carolina University. I'm just interested in the requirements and just refreshing. It's been a while.
Fantastic. I see a Grace Duran. I can't see your full last name.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Grace Duran. I am a conference and event manager at Vanderbilt University. And I've been with Vanderbilt for a little over a year and a half now. And so I'm just interested in the kind of the membership and how, I guess, what steps need to be taken to receive the CCEP.
Fantastic. All right. Then next on my list, I see a Kelly Porter.
Hi, I'm Kelly Porter. I'm with Ames Community College in Greeley, Colorado, and I am just interested in the requirements and time commitment and what it all involves. So.
Great, welcome. Next, I see a Travis Smith.
Hi everyone, my name is Travis Smith and I'm from Oregon State University. And yeah, similar with everyone else, I just kind of wanted to get an introduction in the program and learn more about it.
Next up, I see a Ryan Kim, who I think is also from Oregon. All right, Ryan went back to mute, so then I'm going to jump to, I believe I have an Anna Scott.
Hello, everyone. I'm also from Ames Community College. I'm Anna Scott. I'm also interested in getting some more information. I've learned about it at the conference, but it's been a hot minute, so I just want a refresher on all the fun information.
Thanks. Emerald Johnson.
Hi, I'm Emerald Johnson with Vanderbilt University. I wanted to get more steps to see how I could move forward in receiving this certificate.
Welcome. Catherine Poston, maybe?
Yep, you got it. I'm Catherine Poston. I'm with the University of Richmond. I am really just looking to learn more about the program.
Great. Alicia, if you pronounce it like I do, Alicia McLaren.
Yes, that's right. Hi,
Great.
I'm Alicia McLaren. I'm from Toyota Technological Institute at Chicago. I'm a senior events and projects manager. I am just looking to learn more about the requirements and general information.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. Then I see a Briley.
Yes, Briley Castillo Suarez. I'm over at Florida Tech. I'm just interested in, as everyone else, the requirements and wanting to know a little bit more on how to apply.
Great. Okay, we're going to knock that out for sure. And then the last I think I see is a Jamie Dennison.
Good afternoon. I am Jamie Dennison. I'm the Director of Conference Services at Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. And I was interested in getting more information about the program and hopefully some information on how it is beneficial to people in our field as it relates to our profession moving forward.
Great. And then I'll give it a chance. Did I miss anybody? I have an odd view on my screen, so speak up if I missed you. All right. Step one, Diana, I'm doing good. All right. Got everybody on the list. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you were able to make it today. Hopefully we do touch base on those questions that you threw out there and get those things covered for you that move you into applying for CCEP. If not, at the end of the slideshow, feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions that we have not touched on. Today, we are going to do a general overview of CCEP. We're going to talk about the CCEP certification program requirements, the 4 areas of the certification that you'll need to work on as part of the process, the support and resources that you have within ACECED-I and the CCEP designees that are already out there, and then next steps for recertification, and then any questions you may have that maybe we did not touch on during the presentation. All right. So our mantra for today is going to be strategize, execute, and then succeed, which is really important. So hopefully we'll be able to build up all the information and tools you need that lead you to success should you decide to apply for a CCEP designation. In this picture here, you can see myself from Miami University and Hillary Brennan from University of Colorado Boulder. Both of us walked a couple of years ago at Providence, Rhode Island to get our CCEP certificates. This last year, if you were in New Mexico at the conference, we had 2 more people join us as designees. And in Louisville in 2026, we're looking at approximately 2 to 6 or 2 to 4 more candidates getting certified, which is fantastic. I think when I say 2 to 4, it's because there's a couple of people, Diana, correct me if I'm wrong, are just finishing up those last steps. Maybe workbook questions are being evaluated, that type of thing.
Yes, we
Overall,
officially have 3, and we have a 4th in process. So hopefully they'll
awesome.
complete.
Yeah. Currently in the ACECED-I program, we do have 19 active CCEP designees. So great community to be a part of. All right. For those of you that asked, how do you apply for this? Let's talk a little bit about strategizing. In order to apply for CCEP, you must be an ACECED-I member in good standing. That's the first thing. You also will need to be at least 3 years of qualifying full-time experience in the conference and event services industry, or 2 years of qualifying full-time experience in addition to if you have a bachelor's or master's degree in a relatable field. So if you find that you meet these requirements, you can go online and fill out the application form through the ACECED-I website. You will be asked to upload your resume as well as a letter of application. In your application letter, you're going to need to touch on 3 items. 1, your experience in the conference and event industry. 2, why are you enrolling in the program? And then 3, what you hope to gain from the certification. There is a $400 fee to apply for the CCEP program, and it is non-refundable. And I believe Diane is going to go ahead and throw the link in the chat if you want to save that on where to find that on the ACECED-I website. All right. So once you've evaluated whether or not this is a good program for you and you do qualify with those minimum qualifications, part of our strategizing is looking at CCEP program as a whole. It is a 3-year program. It is completely self-directed and it permits you to do your progress at your own pace. So it is up to the candidate to plan accordingly to complete all the necessary requirements. We all have different peaks and valleys of when we're busy, our busy times. So as you look at, okay, when is a good time for me to apply for CCEP, you may want to consider your workflow at each of your universities. And if you're getting ready to jump right into a really busy time of year, maybe wait until that busy time is over and apply at the beginning of a slow time. So for example, for me, I applied towards the end of the summer season where I knew things were starting to slow down. And I was coming into the winter season where I knew I was going to have some time to work on the things that are part of the CCEP requirements. Again, it's very self-directed. So you set your own pace, you set your own goals. Submit and track your program progress through your ACECED-I profile page. So as you're going through the different requirements that we're about to cover, every time you knock out one of those requirements, you're going to want to go ahead and submit that through the ACECED-I website, with the exception of the workbook pages, which we'll talk about those in a minute. Those you collect all 15 of your workbook page answers together, and you're going to turn those in at the end of the process. But if you are knocking out your volunteer hours or your educational hours, you can submit those throughout your time. All right. Diane, did I miss anything? Diana, did I miss anything on that one?
No, I don't think so. I know we'll be getting a little bit, like you mentioned, in depth on the workbook in a little bit. So
we're going to go into execute. So you've evaluated whether or not you qualify. You've looked at your year to decide whether or not now is a good time or when is a good month for me to go ahead and apply. And our next step is going to be to execute. So we're going to talk a little bit about the program requirements. There are 4 areas of focus: educational hours, professional endeavors, volunteer service, and the certification workbook. If you guys see me looking off to the left, I'm in a little technology issue today, so I'm working through it. All right, the first thing we're going to touch base on is your educational hours. You will be required to attend a minimum of 12 hours of education. This averages to about 4 hours a year, so not too bad. You can earn all of these hours through in-person or virtual ACECED-I events, the annual conference, educational forums, or regional drive-ins with an educational component. If you attended this year's conference, so if you joined us this last year in March in New Mexico, you could earn almost 12 hours. So just attending the conference itself, you nearly knock out all 12 educational hours needed for the CCEP certification. So definitely a win-win there. You can also earn a limited number of hours through other opportunities. For example, you can earn up to 3 hours from a college level course and up to 4 hours at other professional meetings related to the work of collegiate conference and event professionals. Educational hours submitted do need to be in formalized educational classes. Informational sessions such as ACECED-I business meetings, awards, and recognition events, as well as just informational discussions such as roundtables, do not qualify. So for example, if you were attending, if you've ever attended one of our LDAT educational sessions, where it actually has an educational topic that for an hour they present on and teach everyone on that call about that topic, that would count as 1 educational hour. If you were a part of a monthly roundtable discussion on just an interesting topic associated with conference and events, that does not count as an educational hour. So something to keep in mind as you're looking at your annual calendar and what things you want to participate in. Next, we have completing 2 professional endeavors. You will these endeavors show you as a candidate sharing knowledge out to your peers and the industry. Professional endeavor options include you can present at an ACECED-I conference, an educational forum, or a regional drive-in. You can write and publish an article in the ACECED-I Connect, which can be found on the website, by the way. You can complete the ACECED-I benchmarking survey and submit a summary. The benchmarking survey is currently under review, and Diana said there's not yet a date for it to be published, but if you are applying for CCEP, that is something to look out for in the coming years. So again, you have 3 years. So if in the next 2 years they get the benchmarking survey live, then you'd be able to submit your summary and you could count that towards your professional endeavor.
And
You
in
can publish an
addition
article.
to
Go
the
ahead.
benchmarking survey, about every other year, we also do a salary survey. And we also have now added that as an opportunity for a professional endeavor.
Fantastic. Okay. And that counts as 1 hour, Diana?
Well, as one professional endeavor, yes.
As one professional. Okay. Great. Other things you can do is publish an article in a professional journal or magazine, or participate in a CAS self-assessment of a conference and event program. And we'll talk about what CAS is here in a little bit. Next on our execute, part of the CCEP qualifications is 15 hours of volunteer service. This is a great way to meet and interact with your colleagues. The annual conference itself allows for the most volunteer opportunities, whether you join a committee or volunteer to host a roundtable or work the hospitality table at the conference. There's plenty of opportunities to get involved. If you're looking for a deeper connection with your ACECED-I community, maybe joining an action team is a good fit. Action team involvement can provide approximately 6 to 10 hours a year for volunteer services. So a little bit more of a commitment from you, but not too bad. And it's a great way to meet people and engage with other ACECED-I members. You can also reach out to your own regional leadership and inquire about ways to get involved. One of our questions today, as we got ready for this meeting, was how do you do volunteer hours if you're not able to, you don't have a travel budget? There are plenty of ways. I myself have proctored several roundtable discussions that are done via Zoom. So I didn't even have to leave my office. I signed up. I was able to proctor the event, and that counted as a volunteer hour. So there's definitely some options for you to get involved. You can even be a member of an action team like LDAT or even the CCP action team once you qualify as a CCP designee. The educational action team, those are some things that you could look at for volunteer hours if you're looking for something where you don't necessarily have to travel.
And then we will also release special opportunities to earn some volunteer hours. One that we have been doing and is still currently a possibility is as we try to grow our online e-library. We have offered if you upload a certain number of documents to share with your peers, you will get 15 minutes of volunteerism. So it's a really easy way. You can share a lot of good information with your peers. It helps the overall membership. And will also give you ways to earn some volunteer hours, especially in those situations where you might not be able to travel.
Great. All righty. Then next we have the 15 questions of the CCEP workbook. Each candidate is provided a workbook with a variety of questions with a focus on different CAS standards for conference and event services. So when you sign up for CCEP, you'll receive a notebook that includes all of this information that we're going over today and some suggestions on how to achieve them. The biggest part of it is going to be the workbook questions and then a list of the current CAS standards. You will be required to submit 15 answers to 15 questions or 15 essays, as well as submit one new question and an answer for use and potential use in a future workbook. I mentioned CAS standards a couple of times, so to briefly go over that so we all understand what that means, the CCEP workbook is based on CAS standards. CAS is a consortium of approximately 40 professional associations in higher education, including ACECED-I, that develops, promulgates, and encourages use of assessment standards. CAS provides tools to higher education leaders assessing institutional effectiveness, student learning, and outcome. One of CAS's 49 function areas is CEP, Conference and Event Programs. ACED-I members are involved in the development of these standards, and it is the standards that are the basis of the workbook portion of the CCE program. Each question that is posed to the CCE candidate relates to a CAS standard in some way, shape, or form. And I found that when I was working through my workbook questions, looking at the CAS standards provided me the opportunity to evaluate those standards in my own department and work with my ACED-I colleagues to learn more about industry coast to coast. So if you've talked to other colleagues that are in ACED-I or maybe other CCEP candidates or designees, a lot of people will say that the workbook section of this can be the biggest and sort of daunting task. I was the opposite. I did not think it was too bad because I learned so much from it. It was at a time in my career that posed questions to me that I hadn't really thought through as an industry standard. It allowed me the opportunity to meet colleagues from all through ACED-I and learn how they do their business. And so I really found it the most helpful and most educational as part of the CCEP program. When answering your workbook questions, I always found that it was best to go ahead and state your CAS standard as part of your answer. So here's an example question. And I will say this, Dan, how many years do you guys review and update the workbook questions?
The workbook questions are updated along with the CAS's process of updating these standards. So they look at those standards probably every 3 years or so. Some standards are looked at maybe a little more often. Some might get an extra year just based on the process that they have to go through. Also working with a lot of volunteers across many different associations in higher education. But once they have completed that process, we then will review the notebook and make appropriate changes as well to the program.
So that's all to say that if each of you were to apply today, the notebook that you would receive with the 15 outline questions would be totally different than what myself or other CCEP designees may have answered. So here today is an example question. You are the newly appointed director for your university's newest venture, a full-service conference and events department. Briefly outline the steps you go through to determine your target markets and describe some basic marketing techniques. So a good example of a question that you would have to evaluate. Your response should be written, says must be, but it should be written from an industry-wide perspective, reflective of research and knowledge beyond your own campus and operation. And then this fulfills the CAS standard related to what program and services. So you would want to say that in there. So you would evaluate your CAS standards that are provided in your notebook. And when you're answering each of the questions, I find it helpful to refer back to those when when outlining my answer.
Candidate into the program, all the CAS standards are in the back of that notebook you received. So you have immediate access to those to read through and refer back to when you are answering your questions.
Again, some of the feedback is that the 15 questions are tough. I did not feel that way. And I actually found that a lot of the questions that I had to answer, I needed for my own job and use them in my daily work or annual work anyway. So it was very helpful and it kind of came hand in hand.
Yes, the workbook does seem to be daunting for a lot of people. Again, break it down to how it works for your life, your busy seasons. We encourage maybe tackling 5 questions a year. So you do break it up apart like that. And one of my recommendation is always, since you submit all 15 answers at one time and you're not sending them in as you go through, you can jump around. Find one of those questions that you feel very comfortable with or, is particularly in your wheelhouse and tackle that one first. I find a lot of candidates, once you get that first question answered, there's a much bigger comfort level with the rest of them.
Very good advice. I think I did the same thing when I received my workbook. You will see a variety of questions under each topic, and you have the ability to pick which ones you feel comfortable answering. And so I went through my notebook quickly and found the ones that I wanted to start working on, whether it had to do with my daily work or something that I was just interested in and wanted to learn more about. I do find it, again, a great resource for your current positions, as well as a great opportunity to interact with other ACED-I colleagues.
And as Alicia said, she's not the only candidate that has felt very comfortable with the workbook portion of the certification. You do not have to wait to have that as the last item you submit. We have had candidates that the workbook is one of the first things they submit, and then they complete the rest of the requirements. So, if you have a particular time where you're able to work on it a lot and you get it done and you want to know that that's passed, that is a good way to go about it. And then you can have that off your mind.
All right, so we've talked about strategizing when it's best to apply, executing the things that you do have to tick off your list in order to achieve your CCEP certification. So now let's talk about success of the program and what kind of support you have through ACED-I and other CCEP designees as you go through the process. Essentially, you are not alone in this process. The CCEP program provides each candidate, when you sign up, a CCEP mentor. This will be an ACED-I colleague that has completed the program and can be a great resource and motivator as you work through the requirements of the program. So you can, when you go ahead and sign up, there is a mentor. This is a great picture of Hillary and her mentor through her process. They can be there for advice and feedback. So as you're working through your workbook questions and you have some questions, you can throw your answers out to them and have them edit it, proof it, whatever you need. See if you're heading in the right direction, those types of things. It's good to work with your mentor on a mutually agreeable schedule for communication. So again, this is a self-directed program, and some people need more support than others. Maybe it's just nice to have your mentor out there and you tell them, hey, if I need you, I'll reach out. Or maybe you set up a once-a-month meeting with them just to touch base and talk about where you're at in the process. Completely up to you and your mentor. Again, sharing your written drafts with your mentor can always be helpful. Just remember that they too want you to complete your CCEP. So they're their biggest cheerleader, and you can use them as much as you need to. I will say one more thing here is your mentors can be a great way to meet other ACED-I colleagues. So use your resources. Your ACED-I website, community forum, has all of us listed, where we work, a lot of questions from us, information from us. Reach out to them. And maybe your mentor could be that person that introduces you to other ACED-I colleagues. CC blog posts is a fun one. I just recently did mine. It was kind of humorous because I had to listen to my voice recorded. The CC blog posts are just that. It is CCEP candidates, or I'm sorry, not candidates, designees. And it's their take on the process, pros and cons, what they got out of it, what they enjoyed about it, who they met through the process, any suggestions on how to complete the process. So those blog posts are a lot of fun to listen to, and you get a lot of information out of them. And then contact information and team members. We're all part of a region. And if you need assistance during the CCEP process, feel free to reach out to, you can reach out to the ACED-I headquarters office. They can help you. You can reach out to your regional leadership and ask them questions. These are all people that are here to help you be successful.
Another item the CCP action team does are almost monthly. We do take a couple months off, what we call meetups. And it is a half hour to 45 minutes of time once a month, where we will focus in on a topic of interest for candidates and or designees. Tools for Success. And then it is also a way for you to meet other candidates and designees and develop that network.
Again, looking at the big picture, you have 3 years to achieve this and you set your own pace. So maybe you have some topics on the workbook questions that you're not quite sure who to reach out to. When you go to sign up for the annual conference, maybe join the classes or the talks that have to do with that topic. And right there is a room full of colleagues that can potentially answer some questions and help you do your research to answer your questions. Great way to learn more about each of those workbook questions. See if I missed anything here. Oh, and then Diana mentioned the CCEP action team. I believe we're all listed. Here's a picture of us all here, but I believe we're listed on the website, and you're more than welcome to reach out to any of those members that you feel comfortable with to ask any questions. All right. So Succeed. Here is 2 ladies that CCP recipients in New Mexico, Amanda and Morgan. Very excited to join the CCEP designee list and talk a little bit here about why they made the goal and what they got out of the certification. All right, hopefully I've given you enough, couple of seconds there to read those. So this might be a little far off for all of you, but I read it a lot just because I think mine's coming up in a couple years. But once you have received your CCEP designation, you do have to recertify. All designees must recertify every 3 years by I can't talk today, by completing requirements in education, experience, and service. The 3-year period begins on April 1st of the year, and you are recognized and receive your CCEP. So those 3 requirements are: you would attend a minimum of 12 educational hours, complete at least 2 professional endeavors, and volunteer a minimum of 15 hours through ACECED-I. The fee associated with your recertification is $225. All right, so several of you asked this question in the pre-meeting questionnaire. How does certification help you? CCEP is the ACECED-I's professional designation. It does align conference and event professionals with accepted CAS practice standards in higher education, conveys achievement amongst your peers, assures professional credibility in higher education, inspires a higher standard of professional conduct, improves professional and leadership opportunities, and offers opportunities for you to meet others or mentor others. A lot of you asked, why do this and how does it help? So I will say the biggest response that I get from CCEP designees, it is nice to have it on your resume for any sort of future job endeavors or any sort of promotions that you may be trying to achieve. So working in an academic setting where everyone that emails me has several letters after their name, it is nice, in my opinion, to have those letters after my name. I do appreciate having that as part of my signature. I think it also sets the standard to the clients that I work with that I do know what I'm talking about. There's been some training behind my capabilities and my experience in this business. The CAS standards, again, very important that I've understood those standards set for higher education and I adhere to them. So I do think it's a very important certification to have. I have appreciated having it. And I've heard from several designees that promotions have come very quickly behind them also achieving it. Whew! And thank goodness, because I'm talked out. So I'm going to open it up now. If anybody has any questions for Diana and myself, if there's something that we haven't touched on or confused you on during this presentation, please feel free to step up.
Hi, it's Jamie Dennison. You said it takes, or it could take, you can take 3 years. I didn't hear a minimum there. Because some of the some of the things, like I went to a conference, I could probably knock out some volunteer hours, and I'm like, I could probably finish this in less, or in about a year, and not the 3 years. So is it, you know, less than the 3 years, or is it like a 3-year cohort?
No, you can definitely complete it in less time than 3 years if you want. We don't put a minimum out there because, again, it's a self-directed program. Plus, we don't want to put any undue pressure on someone that feels then that we are trying to push a quicker completion. I would say in the 20 years I have been here at ACED-I working with the program, probably the fastest someone has completed it has been in 9 months. That is very exceptional, but when you are accepted as a candidate in the program, you first 60 days from your acceptance to be able to submit any of those other requirements that you may have completed prior in the prior year. So if you were to for example, be accepted into the CCEP program as a candidate today, and you were in Albuquerque at the annual conference and you've completed, 9 educational hours, you volunteered there and have about 8 of those hours done, you presented there, all of that can move you forward on day one of your candidacy. And I believe that was the case for someone that did complete it so quickly is from day one, they pretty much had everything done and completed from the previous year, where the workbook answers was all that they had left. So it is definitely possible to get it done in a year, in 2 years. We just know for a lot of folks, it might be a little bit harder to travel if that's where you need to get a lot of these activities, or again, with those peaks and valleys in everyone's schedule, or something comes up personally unexpected that might push this off for you. We want to make sure there is enough time given to you so you can be successful in the completion.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I
No,
have a
everyone.
question, but I wanted to give other people an opportunity to ask questions. Sorry. So, like you were mentioning about, having the designation behind your name. Now, personally, outside of ACE-I, do you feel like this is a more recognized certification? I mean, I know we're all familiar with the CMP and the PMP, or, so I just want to, ensure that it never hurts to get a certification, but it's just the time that goes in it. I want it to be recognized across the board and not just within the ASI community.
Well, so it is a specialty certification because, as you all know, doing events and meetings on a collegiate campus is very different from other industries. Government who has all their own specialties, healthcare, things like that. And many of those organizations also have their specialty certifications because it shows that you're in a unique area, subset of the meetings and events overall industry that other people don't have to worry about or be involved with. You mentioned the CMP, so that is obviously going to be the most recognizable because it is open to all meeting event planners, as well as the corporate side of that as well. So you're talking hoteliers, government meeting planners, association meeting planners, corporate, the whole gamut. And we have several of our members that have earned both and see that as valuable. The biggest, I have my CMP. I'm a proponent of it. ACED-I supports it. A lot of our education is, we're a preferred provider for the CMP. And probably the best way I always like to explain it is that CMP is a good umbrella because you will be answering questions and learning about things that involves every aspect in every area of the industry, whether it's exhibit sales, shipping, hotel specific, timelines. So because of that, it has to be very generalized to try to be as applicable to any situation. When you're looking at the CCEP or, for example, SGMP has their government certification, we kind of dive into those areas that are only going to be applicable to people on a collegiate campus. Some of the unique situations you are placed in that no one else is aware. So it probably is not as well recognized just as the letters themselves, but as Alicia had mentioned, I think someone sees that you've gone through a process, that you have some backing, is going to be just as valuable. It may open up a great conversation on what a CCP is, so they know that you are, in that elite group of knowledge for collegiate conference and events professional. And I would say, there's probably a lot of clients out there that don't know what CMP might be unless they are, professionals themselves and that's all they do. But I know there are many people that plan meetings and events that it's a secondary situation for them. So I have found many people have to ask me what CMP even means. So.
I'm going to jump in there, Diana, and say that, as I mentioned, I learned a lot about my own position. I've been in the food and beverage industry for over 30 years and came to the collegiate industry about 10 years ago. And so I was 4 or 5 years in before I started my CCEP process and still found by answering those questions and doing the valuable research, it very much supported my job. So besides having the letters behind the name, I now have, I feel, the education and the intelligence of coast to coast resources behind me. Because it's not just how do we do it at my school, it's how do other universities do it, which I found invaluable as part of this process. So when you talk about, to your point, it's specialized to collegiate, whether it's the colleagues that I've met or the different relationships that I built through ACED-I and the CCEP process, I feel comfortable now applying for higher positions, other universities in other states, because I have a nice, well-rounded education of how other universities also do the work that I do. So that's nice. It's not always all about just, CCEP and what will it get for me. It also provided the education of the industry standards in higher education across the board. I will add to that we had a couple of questions in the email. So Briley, hopefully I answered your question there. Diana, Anna Scott asked that when you apply, is the $400 fee due at the time or after you are accepted when you apply for the CCEP program?
It is due at the time. The application is not reviewed until payment is received.
While Diana was talking, I also added some other links into the chat if you want to grab those. Again, those CCEP blog posts are someone besides me talking about our experience in CCEP certification process. I welcome you to listen to those and get some other feedback on the process and how other designees maneuvered their certification. How many years did it take them? As Diana said, someone did it as quickly as 9 months. Fantastic. I think it took me 2 years. I had a goal of walking at a specific conference, and so that was my goal. I made it happen. But I would check out those blog posts. I also put a link into our action team page that talks about different volunteering options. So for those of you who, again, who don't want to travel or don't have the resources to travel from your university, check those out. That may be a way for you to get involved with other colleagues, get those volunteer hours without having to attend some of the travel events.
I have another question.
Yeah, Jamie.
It's regarding the $400. So since the $400 is due pretty much upfront, do you all reject a lot of people?
No,
Or
it's very rare for someone to be rejected. Basically, we pretty much put out front what the requirements are, that you need to hit the minimum of professional experience and everything like that. So, you know, I would say in my time here, we've only had to reject one person because they did not have the needed professional experience, that was stated. So it's pretty much, you know, if you have that experience, as long as you put together a good letter, about why you want to earn it. Yeah, it's so rare. Like I said, in 20 years, I think I remember having to reject one person. And we don't want to reject people. We want everybody to be successful. And as long as you know you have what those requirements are, if you might be unsure, if you think you might be on the cusp, email me. I'll let you know. Because I don't want to reject anybody.
thank you. I'm done with questions.
One topic that Diane and I were talking about actually before the meeting started, and I wanted to bring up here. If you're on the fence and not sure if you want to apply, you know, we encourage you again to apply when it works best for you and timeliness. Diane, do you mind sharing a little bit about what we were talking about? Should you attend the annual conference in March, and that spurs that motivation to go ahead and apply for your CCEP? Talk a little bit about how those classes that you just took in the March conference now apply to your CCEP certification.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest questions we get is, you know, will my attendance at the conference count? Do I have to, let's say, you know, the months leading up to the conference is your very busy time and you just cannot get your application in, and there's a big concern, or perhaps you didn't put in your application until a week before the annual conference, where I'm not able to get to the review of that, based on how far in advance I'm going to the conference location, and everything that needs to be done in terms of that. As we mentioned, your first 60 days as a candidate, you do have to submit anything earned within the previous year. So if you're worried you're going to the conference and none of that will count because you can't apply or the acceptance doesn't come until after the conclusion of the conference, you have those 60 days and that will all get counted towards your certification. So I never want that to be a worry for anybody, because I know the conference is one of those times where you can get a lot accomplished in all three of those other areas. So that is always a biggie for folks that know they're going to the conference in terms of getting educational hours, volunteer hours, and professional endeavors counted towards your progress. The last thing I just wanted to show really briefly is how you do track this and how you can see what you've accomplished in the program. As you all know, last month we shared our new look, our new website, with the new association management system we went with. So some of that has changed for the program as well. So when you go to the website, this is where you will land. And when you log in, it will open up to your member portal and your profile. So this is clearly our little test number that we have put in to our system. But when you are in your profile, you'll see to the right, there is an area for certifications. So this is an example of when you become a candidate, you are assigned a number and that you are working towards your collegiate conference and events professional. It shows the date you were accepted as a candidate and then the 3-year expiration date of where everything needs to be completed. Clearly, as we've talked about, you can finish that early. You'll go into the recertification process at that point, and the dates will change appropriately. This is also where you'll have a snapshot of everything you've submitted that has been accepted towards your credits. So in this case, 4 hours of education of the 12 have been completed for this candidate. They've done 1 of the 2 professional endeavors, 9 of the 15 volunteer hours. They have not submitted their workbook answers yet or their additional question and answer for the workbook. This also is another view of that continuing education. They will all expire at the same time as the expiration date because once you successfully complete the CCEP, you go into the recertification process. You're also able to print out transcript report, which is just another view of this if for whatever reason you would like a hard copy of that. When it comes to submitting any activities towards your certification, when you go into the Collegiate Conference and Events Professional part of the website, as a candidate, there's a button right here to submit your requirement. And this is where you go. It will populate with all of your logged in information. And you select whether you're a candidate or you're going towards your recertification, which requirement you are trying to earn, and how many credits. There is also a place down here for an upload that we are having some technical issues with right now. Our AMS tech people are in the process of fixing that. In the meantime, we're asking everyone to just send me a direct email of that information so I can keep your records updated. But hopefully that tech group will get this issue fixed shortly. Does anyone else come up with any questions? Anything we didn't cover well enough? How long can it take to be approved for the program? I would say on average, we're talking, about a week or 2. A lot of that depends. I have to reach out and secure a mentor. So sometimes that kind of puts me on hold a little bit because I want to accept you with the name of a mentor. So especially depending on time of year, if summer's your slow time, it's a busy time for a lot of more people than not. So sometimes that communication gets slowed up for me. If you hit me when I, just left on a week vacation or anything like that, those things will always push things behind. And then, as I said earlier, if you're submitting a week or 2 out from the annual conference, it makes it a little bit harder for me to get to that activity as well. The annual conference is another big piece of my position here at ACECED-I.
Great question, Anna. And I would also add to that, Diana, if I knew a CCEP designee that I would request to be a mentor, could I state that in my application process?
Yes, that's a great question. We do have a place on that application form. If you've met someone at a previous conference that you've really connected with, you can request that person as a mentor, and they will be the first person I reach out to and just make sure it is something that they can take on. You may have met them, 6 months ago when their life was very different, and sometimes, life changes for folks. But I would say majority of the time, your request does get accepted by that mentor. Now you may not know anyone with the CCP, you may be assigned a mentor, and sometimes those relationships don't work. Maybe your personalities don't mesh, maybe um, when you're ready to ramp up, something's happened in their work life or whatever, and they're just not able to give you the time you need at that point. Feel free to reach out to me. I can find somebody else to be your mentor. I mean, that's nothing on you as a candidate or on them as a mentor. Sometimes, things just don't work out, and I never want anyone to feel like I was assigned this person and it's just we can't give each other what we need. Because it happens. So.
That's a great point, Diana, that, for all of us being in this same-ish profession, we all have very different calendars. And we talked a little bit about, your self-directed, the busyness, the peaks and valleys of your own year. And sometimes your mentor may not be on the same annual schedule that you are. Maybe you're slow in the summer and busy in the winter, and they're vice versa. So that's a great point to know, that if you aren't making that connection, someone else could be assigned to you. Any other questions? Well, hopefully Diana and I have captured all your questions and left you with a positive feeling about CCEP, and you're ready to apply, or at least ready to evaluate when the best time for you to apply is. And if you do have any other questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to myself or Diana with those questions. Again, the CCEP action team is listed on the ACECED-I website, and you're welcome to reach out to any of those members, discuss any questions that you have about the process.
Thank you so much for your time today, and hopefully we'll see you at another ACECED-I event soon.